Did you know a single coin could change your life forever? You know, people walk into my shop every day with all sorts of things, hoping they've got a treasure on their hands. Most of the time, it's just sentimental value, but every once in a while, something truly special comes through that door. A piece of history you can hold in your hand. Today we're diving into the fascinating history of America's rarest coins, each one with a story that shaped the nation and made people rich. These aren't just coins you find in your couch cushions. These are the legends, the ones that numismatists, that's a fancy word for coin collectors, dream about. We're going to look at why these little pieces of metal are worth millions. It's not just about the gold or silver content. It's about the story. It's about a mistake at the mint, a diplomatic mission, or a coin that was never supposed to exist in the first place. You see, every scratch, every detail, tells a tale. From the birth of the United States to modern times, these coins are more than just money. They're pieces of history. They represent a specific moment in time, a snapshot of America's journey. And for the lucky few who own them, they're a ticket to a very exclusive club. So, stick around, because I'm gonna tell you everything I know about these incredible coins. We'll talk about why they were made, why they disappeared, and why they're worth more than most people's houses. You're gonna learn a lot. You might even get inspired to check your own change jar. You never know what you're gonna find. I've been in this business a long time, and believe me, the stories behind these items are often more valuable than the price tag. Let's get started. Alright, let's start at the beginning. I mean, the very beginning of American currency. We're talking about the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. This wasn't just a dollar, it was the first dollar coin ever struck by the United States federal government. Think about that. The country was brand new, trying to establish itself on the world stage, and part of that was creating its own money. This coin was a symbol of independence, a statement that America was here to stay. They only made about 1,758 of these, and the press they used was, to put it nicely, not the best. So, very few survived in good condition. What you have here is the Mona Lisa of American coins. The design, with Lady Liberty and her long, flowing hair, was meant to represent freedom. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's incredibly powerful. Most of the surviving examples are pretty beat up, but one pristine specimen, believed to be the very first one struck, came up for auction. You've got to understand, when something this rare comes on the market, the big players come out. The bidding was intense. When the hammer finally fell, it sold for over $10 million. That's a world record. You can buy a lot of things for 10 million bucks, but you can't buy another first US dollar. There's only one. Now this next one. This coin has a story that sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood movie. It's the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle. First off, this is considered by many to be the most beautiful coin ever made in America. Designed by the famous sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens, it's a work of art. But its beauty isn't what makes it legendary. In 1933, FDR took the US off the gold standard to combat the Great Depression. He ordered all gold coins to be returned to the treasury and melted down. Nearly 500,000 of these 1933 double eagles were struck, but they were never officially issued. They were supposed to be turned into gold bars. But here's the thing about telling people they can't have something. It just makes them want it more. Somehow, a handful of these coins escaped the melting pots. They were smuggled out of the mint, and for decades the Secret Service hunted them down. It was illegal to own one. For years, the government claimed no 1933 double eagles had ever been legally released. Then, one surfaced that had been part of the collection of King Farouk of Egypt. After a long legal battle, the US government made a deal. They would issue that single coin, making it legal to own, and split the proceeds from its sale. That one coin sold at auction for over $18 million. It's the ultimate forbidden treasure. Some things in my business are valuable because they're old, some because they're made of precious metal, and some, like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, are valuable because they're not supposed to exist at all. See, in 1913, the US Mint officially switched from the Liberty Head design to the new Buffalo nickel. All the records show that no Liberty Head nickels were produced that year, and yet, 5 of them are known to exist. For years, nobody knew where they came from. The story goes that a rogue mint employee named Samuel Brown struck them secretly, maybe as a souvenir or to create an instant rarity. He didn't reveal their existence until years later, at a coin convention in 1920, causing a huge sensation. These 5 nickels have been bought, sold, and traded by the biggest names in collecting ever since. One was even the focus of a classic TV show episode. They've been called the Holy Grail of nickels. Every time one comes up for sale, it makes headlines, selling for millions of dollars. The fact that we still don't know the full story of how they were made just adds to the mystique. It's a perfect example of how a secret and a good story can turn 5 cents into a fortune. In the world of rare coins, there are kings, and then there's king. I'm talking about the 1804 draped bust silver dollar. Its nickname is literally the King of American Coins, and wow, it really earned it. Here's the crazy part. Even though it's dated 1804, not a single one was actually struck in that year. The US Mint had stopped making silver dollars in 1804 because of, hoarding and export issues. So where did they come from? Well, about 30 years later, in 1834, President Andrew Jackson wanted to create these special sets of coins to give as diplomatic gifts to foreign rulers, like the Sultan of Muscat and the King of Siam. The mint decided to include a silver dollar in these sets. They looked at their records, saw the last year of issue was 1804, and just went with that date for the new coins. They only made a handful for these diplomatic sets. Later on, a few more were secretly struck by mint employees to sell to collectors. Today, only 15 of these coins are known to exist, separated into 3 classes based on when and how they were made. Owning an 1804 dollar is like owning a piece of diplomatic intrigue and numismatic history, all rolled into one. It's a coin made for kings that is now the king of coins. Sometimes, the most valuable items are the ones that were never meant to be. They're mistakes, and the 1943 copper penny is honestly one of the most famous mistakes in United States history. During World War II, copper was a critical war material. It was needed for shell casings, wiring, all sorts of things for the military effort. So, to conserve it, the US Mint switched to making pennies out of zinc-coated steel for 1 year only, in 1943. These steel cents are very common, but they're not the ones we're talking about here. The real treasure is the penny that wasn't supposed to be steel. Somehow, a few leftover copper planchets, the blank discs used to make coins, from 1942 got stuck in the minting presses. When the machinery started up for the 1943 run, a small number of pennies were accidentally struck on these old copper blanks instead of the new steel ones. For years, people searched for them. Henry Ford was even rumored to have offered a new car in exchange for one. Today we know only about 20 of these exist. Finding one of these in your change is pretty much the ultimate collector's fantasy. It's a simple wartime error that turned a 1-cent piece into an item worth hundreds of thousands, sometimes over $1 million. Everyone's familiar with the quarter. You use it for vending machines, parking meters, It's one of the workhorse coins of our economy. But have you ever thought about the very first one? Let me tell you, it's a whole different story. The 1796 draped bust quarter was the very first quarter dollar ever produced by the US Mint. Back then, a quarter was a lot of money, so they didn't make very many. The total mintage was just over 6,000 coins. That might sound like a lot, but in the world of coins, that's incredibly small, especially for a coin that's over 200 years old. What makes it even rarer is that this was a 1-year design type. It was the only quarter to feature the small eagle reverse, which was replaced by a larger heraldic eagle the next time they made quarters in 1804. So you have a very low mintage, a 1-year design, and the distinction of being the first of its kind. Most of these coins saw heavy circulation, so finding one in nice condition is next to impossible. It's not the flashiest or most expensive coin on our list, but for serious collectors, owning a 1796 quarter is a cornerstone of any major collection of American coins. It's a true piece of early American history. This last coin is a real puzzle. It's the 1870 S-seated Liberty dollar. Now, the S mint mark means it was made in San Francisco. Here's the mystery. The official mint records from the San Francisco Mint for 1870 show no silver dollars being produced at all. 0. And yet we know that a small number of them, maybe a dozen or so, do exist. So what happened? The story goes that these coins were struck not for circulation, but to be placed in the cornerstone of the new San Francisco Mint building that was under construction at the time. It was a ceremonial striking, a way to commemorate the new facility. But it seems a few of the coins didn't make it into the cornerstone. Maybe they were kept by Mint officials as souvenirs, or maybe extras were made. We don't know for sure. What we do know is that these coins are incredibly rare. For a long time their existence was only rumored. When one finally appeared on the market, it confirmed the legend. It's a ghost coin, a coin with no official birth record, and its value is well over $1 million. It just goes to show you, sometimes the biggest treasures are the ones that were never officially recorded. So there you have it. From the very first dollar struck in a fledgling nation to a secret stash of nickels and a wartime mistake worth a fortune. Each of these coins tells a story not just of metal and money, but of ambition, secrecy, artistry, and history. They remind us that the objects we see every day can have incredible hidden value. You know, I built my business on this idea, that there's a story behind everything, and if you know what you're looking for, you can find treasures anywhere. These coins are the ultimate proof of that. Next time you get some change back, take a second and look at it. Really look. Check the dates. Check the mint marks. The odds are long, I'll admit it. You're probably not going to find a 1943 copper penny. But you might find something else. An old silver quarter, a wheat penny, or something that just looks interesting. It's the thrill of the hunt. That's what gets collectors hooked, and it's what makes my job exciting every single day. You never know what's going to walk through that door, or what might be hiding in your own pocket. Who knew that a small piece of metal could hold so much history, and make someone a millionaire? Which coin would you want to find in your pocket? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories from America's past. You learn something new every day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.